Good morning, good evening. I hope you like dreaming. What's up, everybody? Let's get in another little chitter chatter this morning. Huh? Again, nothing to talk about. Not particularly, but I do want to say hello. Just got done at the gym. Had to go to the gym and get after it and run my mile. Kind of sweaty and nasty, but you know what? It feels good, man. I'm finally getting to that point, and I'm so glad. I thought it was going to take a long time. I thought it was going to take a long time for me to actually get to that point, like I was talking about yesterday. That point where working out feels good, you know? I'm finally there. I like it. I feel pumped up. I feel energized. I feel, you know what I mean? So, what's up, everybody? Say hello and make yourselves known. Just got done. I had to go run my mile, man. Had to go run my mile. Just listening to my Halloween chat. Oh, well, let's get another one in. Let's get another one in while I'm in the mood. What it do? Hello, everybody. Y'all know the deal. I don't have anything in particular to talk about. I'm sure y'all do, though. I'm sure y'all do. Don't know how long I'm going to be able to chat this morning, but anyway, man, I'm glad I didn't wear a gray shirt. I ran in my hoodie. It was kind of chilly outside a little bit, so I got to the gym. I had my hoodie on, and I ran, and I just peeled it off. I'm all sweaty. Kind of gross, but I figured, man, before I change my mind, let's say hello to everybody. Happy Sunday. Sunday, man, okay, so I found myself in this really weird position when I started doing the tarot cards. Like, back when I used to work day jobs, and I'm pretty sure anybody that works a regular job, you look forward to the weekend. And I found after several months of, doing what I now do for a living, I started realizing I didn't like the weekends. I would look forward to the week. For some strange reason. Sunday has always been like my least favorite day. It's very different here in Vegas, though. Like when we lived in Arizona, in Bullhead City, Sunday was my least favorite day. It was dead. There was a lot of things were closed, or you know what I mean? Here, though, it's quite the opposite. Here in Vegas, there's, again, this is duality, so there's going to be positive and negative things everywhere you go. But dude, it's so crowded here, man. Oh, it's so crowded. I used to love shopping at Walmart. It's going to sound so silly, man. But I used to love shopping at Walmart. Now I hate that place. Oh, I hate that place now. Can't stand it. Especially here. And a subscriber saw me at Walmart one time. It was one of the last times that I went there. I haven't been back very many times. But, and I kind of felt bad. Because I'm like kind of in panic mode a little bit, I'm walking around, it's shoulder to shoulder packed crowded in this Walmart. And I'm all like, the kids are running around and I'm like, no, stop, come on, let's go, and I'm kind of, I don't want to make it sound like was like making a scene or anything like that, but you could probably tell by looking at me that I was not in a very good mood, And this dude standing behind me in line taps on my shoulder. And my immediate knee-jerk reaction when a random person talks to me before I know who they are, it's just like, oh my God, why is a stranger talking to me, And it turned out to be a subscriber. I kind of felt bad because, like, of all times, you know what I'm saying? Of course, I've been spotted out, a lot, especially living here. But of all times, there in Walmart, which what used to be my favorite place, a subscriber sees me and I'm not in a very good mood. I'm like, he goes, are you from here? And I'm like, no, I just moved here. And he goes, you'll love it here, man. And I'm like, well, it's very beautiful end of town, but it's crowded. Oh my God, it's crowded, I didn't know what else to say. I'm looking around and man, it just looks like some Black Friday shit or something, but that's just every day here. That's just every day in one of these big packed crowded cities, for real. And man, I don't know. I get, you know how the grass is always greener on the other side, right? Well, I get to fantasizing sometimes about, man, what would it be like to have just like a house, you know, home on the range, out in the middle of nowhere, go out back and shoot my guns or something, or build a bonfire, or, you know, that's been kind of fantasized about here lately, you know. Anyway, though, didn't really have a particular point there. Welcome, Michelle. Welcome, y'all. Appreciate you for tuning in. No internet connection? What, on my end? Am I coming in clear, y'all? Wouldn't surprise me if I wasn't. Mercury retrograde has had almost every live stream that I've tried to do. Well, screwed up. House in the woods. Yes, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it? But then I know me that the minute I would get a house in the woods, I would love it for a couple of weeks, and then I'd be like, but I miss the city. I think we're just all kind of wired that way. You know, it's kind of like natural, you know. But yeah, anyway, though, turns out Vegas is a very awesome place to celebrate Halloween. Very awesome place to celebrate Halloween. It was a very success. I was scared, man. I was nervous because our neighbors, bless their hearts. Okay, so we live in a really, really super nice neighborhood, okay? And I'm not saying that to brag or anything. What I'm saying is it's mostly old people who live in this neighborhood. You know, probably people who are old and retired and stuff like that. And our neighbors, bless their hearts, came over and like knocked on the door beforehand and said, here, give these bags of candies to the girls. You know, we're not doing trick-or-treating because of the virus, you know, and I'm not going to dig the whole wormhole up and talk about this, but we aren't fucking scared of the damn virus. Okay, so we don't play that fear game. We don't go around scared all the time and whatever. We only wear masks when we're required to, and we put our noses out so we can fucking breathe. That's all I'm going to say about that. But anyway, bless their hearts. They came over. They said, we don't want to catch the virus. So here, give the girls candy and this and that. I'm like, oh, man, is the whole neighborhood going to be like that? I was so scared, dude. I was like, man, my first Halloween experience getting my kids back in years and years. And, man, is it going to, like, nobody's going to be doing it? And no, it actually turned out the whole neighborhood was popping, dude. I was like, hell yeah, man. My kids got a really cool Halloween experience that I was so scared and so nervous. Like, man, I hope it doesn't, you know, out of everybody being afraid, I hope it doesn't flop and crash, you know, ruin Halloween. And it didn't. It didn't. The whole neighborhood was popping, man. It was like, hell yeah, dude. You know, it's really cool for me to be able to do those things for my kids, you know, because there for the longest time, I kind of threw my hands in the air and was like, okay, universe, all right, whatever. I trust that this is part of the plan. And I guess I'm just not meant to be a part of my kids' lives. All right, whatever. Okay. Every time, the harder I try to fight it, the harder you fight against me. So I throw my hands in the air. Okay. And just kind of gave up and didn't really think I'd ever be able to be in the position to do anything and provide anything for my kids or any kind of good experiences like that, you know? So now, every time I get the chance to do something like that for them, it's just like, yeah, I did it, you know? And that goes into some very personal things too. I don't know if I'm going to like tell the whole stories or anything like that, but my grandfather, I told you all a few days ago, he passed away the day before his birthday, which was October the 24th. My grandmother, like, was it 7 years before that? She passed away on October 27th. Okay, his birthday was the 25th, so he would get really, really depressed every year around his birthday. You know, every year, because, you know, my grandmother passed away a couple days after his birthday. And he passed away the day before his birthday. And like, basically at that point in time was very ashamed of me, and had every right to be. I was not a very good character. When I was younger, I was very heavy, strung out on drugs, and I was just not in a very good headspace at all around that point in time in my life. And it lit this fire under my ass when he passed away to like work really, really hard to try to be the man that he wanted me to be, you know, that he never got to see. And yeah, and again, that was another thing that I just kind of gave up. I'm like, okay, well, whatever, I guess universe has different plans for me, you know? And yeah, so that's digging a little bit into the personal level of some of the things in my life. And every time I'm able to actually do something cool for the kids, I'm like, yes, I finally did it, you know? And last night was a cool one, dude. And then we went to Circus. We went to Circus after the kids trick-or-treated, which is, for those of you who aren't really familiar with Vegas, it's this like indoor theme park. It's got roller coasters and shit, this huge indoor, it's like under this big dome. And it's got these roller coasters, rides, and all kinds of cool shit you can go on. Badass, dude. So anyway, did y'all have a good Halloween? I did. Very successful one. And the kids' costumes were cool too. Leah spent so much time. She is like so hardcore. Like, she's a Saggy, okay? So you know how that Saggy energy is. A lot of times Saggy energy can influence a person. From what I've experienced in my interactions with Saggies, can experience a person and not really have a whole lot of control of the gas pedal. Like, okay, just slam the pedal to the floor and balls to the wall. Blah! So whatever she does, she like does 10,000% and puts all this fiery, passionate energy into it. So she just went all out and spent like an hour or so, like getting the girls' makeup ready and all this stuff. And I'm like, damn, man, so cool, dude. So anyway, I'm super stoked today. Super stoked. Y'all seem kind of quiet. Y'all just listening to me run my mouth. There's Abraham again. What's happening? Kathy, Vanessa, what's up, y'all? What it do? Moaning? Right on. Anyway, just wanted to share a little bit of my Halloween with y'all. And today I don't even know what we're gonna do. Probably just sit around, and unless I have any readings today, I'm not sure if I do or not. Not sure. I could. She has it wired up somehow. She knows all the inner workings of the technology and stuff, but with her laptop, she schedules me, and I keep forgetting to do this, but somehow I can open up the calendar on my phone and see the schedule. It transfers from her laptop to the calendar on my phone. If I ever wonder, and I forgot to look at it, so I don't know if I have any readings today. I don't know if I do. Other than that, though, probably gonna sit and chill. Probably take a chillax day today. Boom, 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 boom. It was a long night. Right on. Love to listen to me open up. Yeah, I do from time to time. And I don't really, like, some people like think that I hide things. And when you're in the position that I'm in, I don't have anything to hide. I don't give a shit what you know about me or my story or anything like that. But I'm always like thinking, there's always the thoughts in the back of my mind, who am I about to be, like, am I about to say something that's somebody else's business? You know? Like, it's not for me. I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care what you know about me. I'm a completely open book. You know? I don't care. Not one of those types of people. And that may be a little bit, like, people may like look at me a little bit funny for that, because most people like have an image to uphold, and I don't. I really don't. But I always have the thought in my mind whenever I'm talking about something or telling a story, am I about to say something that's not my business to say? You know what I mean? I'm real big on that. I have like, even if like you're an enemy of mine, even if you're on my bad side and we're not cool, I'm still going to respect you. I'm still going to like say, okay, well, you know, I'm going to not say anything that's none of my business to say. So it's like, a lot of times it's not that I don't want to open up. I'm always tiptoeing around making sure that I'm speaking things. Does that make sense? That's the best way I can think to explain it, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, that is some a little bit deeper into the personal aspect of me. A really like the relationship I had with my grandfather, and the day that he passed away was, you know, that fucked me up for a long time. It did. That's one thing I don't really talk about a whole lot. I found him. I came home and found him. He was dead when I found him. And my oldest daughter was a baby at the time. And we had just bought pumpkins. We were going to carve pumpkins. And came home and he was on the floor. And I'm holding my daughter, you know. And yeah, it was a very, very traumatic for me. Very traumatic. It was the only dad that I ever really had. You know, my biological father just passed away this past May. And that was okay. He was one of those people, my biological father. I met him when I was 16. I was taken away from my parents. I was taken away from my parents when I was 2. I want to say 2. And essentially, I don't really want to dig a whole lot into the story, but there was lots of abuse, a lot of abuse. My sister and I were abused, you know, and that's all I really, you know what I'm saying? There's this side of the story and that side of the story and this version of the story and that version. I really don't remember. I don't remember that well. But anyway, though, I met my biological father when I was 16. And it was very interesting because when I was homeless, he was homeless too. And it was so weird. It was kind of like, I don't know if it was a karmic relationship that we had or something. But when I was on, like, he was never there for me. And I'm not mad at him. I never, ever held that against him. Didn't really care. Didn't want him to be there for me. My grandparents were my parents, you know. But he was never there for me. But when I went homeless, he was homeless too. Okay? He was, and one of my cousins. It was a pretty big homeless community there in downtown Jeffersonville, Indiana. A lot of homeless people on the streets. And at that point in time, he took me under his wing and taught me how to survive on the streets. And it was interesting. It was kind of like you were never there for me ever, ever, ever. But then and the universe put me in a position to where it's like, okay, he finally got the chance to, like, I guess, make up for all the years missing. I guess, you know, it was, again, I never really cared. It didn't really bother me that bad. But the last time I saw him, it was this was shortly after, about a year or so after I got up off the streets, right, just probably a few weeks before I left Louisville. And the job that I was working at the time was I was working for this event company. Like, you know, you ever go to an event, like if like a festival or something like that, where they'll set up all these tents, and you know, you go in like booths where they sell, like we would build those tents and stuff like that. And we would drive all over the city, and we ended up supposedly getting this job where we were going to set up this event in downtown Jeffersonville, Indiana. And I thought that was so weird because at this time I'm living in Louisville, like way outside in St. Matthews. Those of you who know anything about Louisville, about 20 miles away. And I was like, whoa, that's cool. I'm going to see if I can find my dad. I know where his little hangout spot is. And it was like 2 blocks away. We were supposed to be going 2 blocks away from the place where he hangs out every day. And we get there and we're like, okay, well, here's the location. And I'm like, I'm going to go see if I can find my dad. I hadn't seen him in a while. And I went, and sure enough, I found him there at his little hangout spot outside of Hardee's, the Hardee's restaurant. And he was sitting there drinking his coffee. And he was like, what's up, boy? And I was like, I'm doing good. Just wanted to let you know I'm living in Louisville now. I got me a job, and we're about to be doing this job down the street here. Just wanted to come by and say what's up. And it was cool. We hugged, said I love you. It was real super cool. And that was the last time I saw him. So when I found out this past, actually, yeah, it was last December, my aunt wrote me and says, your dad has lung cancer and he doesn't have much longer to live. I thought, well, fuck. We had already bought the plane tickets and were planning to go get the kids. That was a plan that was in the works for quite some time. We kept that on the low though. We didn't say anything about that for a while. We had already bought the plane tickets and scheduled the flight to come get the kids from Louisville on the 1st. And I thought, damn, should I go see my dad? Should I go see him? And I decided not to. And I'll tell you why. I don't know why I'm telling these stories, but they're popping up, so I may as well go ahead and talk about them. But I decided not to because my dad was he was a loose cannon, very mentally unstable, very like, you never really know what kind of mood he's going to be in. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I know one little wrong word. And if I go to see him, when I pick the kids up, because I'll be there in town, if I go to see him, one wrong word, and I could go from, like, the last time I saw him was good. We smiled, hugged, said, I love you. That was my last memory of him. If I take the chance, I could say one wrong word, especially like if he finds out how successful I am, like he's that type. Like if he found out, oh, okay, my boy done got successful and he hadn't even been around to help me, and he could just flip and turn a 180 on me, and like it could make my last time seeing him a really ugly experience. It could very easily. So I decided not to. I was like, okay, we had our little, we had our falling outs, he was never really there. We got to spend a lot of time together on the streets, being homeless, and formed a pretty decent bond there. And the last time I saw him was cool. So I'm going to leave it at that. And yeah, he went ahead and I got the message that he passed away in May. And I'm cool with it. I'm totally cool with that. I wasn't cool, however, though, with like my grandmother, both my grandparents. At the end of their lives, I was not a very good character. I was not. Oh, I was not. When I was younger, I was balls to the wall, fucking just not a very good headspace, And yeah, so I don't really know where I was going with that, but yeah. Oh, just digging up and kind of a little bit more of the personal level about, that's been something that's been a driving force in the back of my mind for a long time. There's no real way. I can't really obviously my belief systems and stuff like that are very, very different than what I was raised to believe. I was raised in a real hardcore, like my grandparents were real hardcore, like Republicans and churchgoers and believed in going to church every Sunday and blah, 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 blah. And my grandpa would just sit around and he was kind of a boring character, and he, just sit around and hammer politics into my head all day. And I'm just like, oh, man, so there's no way, I don't really think that they would, like, as far as their belief systems, I don't really carry any of that out, not much, but to actually have made something of myself, I think is the closest thing that I could do to really, I want to say, be as close to the person that they wanted me to be as possible. You know what I mean? My grandmother, I don't think would agree with me doing this at all. Oh no, she was like real hardcore Christian, Bible thumper, and hey, that's totally cool, but she probably would have looked at this as being like the devil's work or evil or something like that. Like, I don't think she would probably not be cool with what I do for a living. My grandpa, I don't really know what he would think. I'm curious a lot of times to think, what if I had the opportunity to be like, hey, Papa, look what I do for a living. I don't know what he would say. It's interesting, but anyway though, yeah. Because my grandpa, he said this thing to me one time, not too long before he died, maybe 2 or 3 weeks before he died. And it threw me when he said this. It took me the longest time to understand what he meant. He said this to me, I swear to God. He said, you know what, Rich? You're an asshole. And if you weren't my grandson, I wouldn't like you. You know that, right? You're a little asshole. I don't agree with anything that you do. I don't like the lifestyle that you live, but I respect the way that you think. I said, what? He goes, I like the way you think. I admire the way you think. At the time, I'm like 23, I'm a lot younger. My mind's not very expanded at this point, to my knowledge, I don't think. And it took me forever to understand what he meant by that. And I think that kind of planted a seed in my mind from that point. And that's probably why I am the way that I am about, I don't really care what you think. I care how you drew the conclusion that you drew. Does that make sense? Like if me and you were debating and we're talking, ever since he said that to me, if me and you could have the biggest difference in opinion, period, I don't care. I want to know what was the thought process that led you to formulating this opinion or this idea, and I very much approach things from that perspective now, if that makes any sense, know what I mean? But where was I going with that? Man, I'm just blabbing random shit this morning. I don't even know where I was going with that or what the point was. guess just letting y'all in on a little bit more of the deep personal side of me, you know. So yeah, that was, I guess, inspired by the fact that I don't know, man. Last night was just really cool, and I really liked to be able to give my kids that experience. It may sound kind of silly and kind of cheesy, but to me it's big. To me it's big. It's really huge. Really, really huge, you know? I mean, I can understand why some of y'all may not really, you may just be kind of thinking, well, because the only me that most of you have seen, unless you've seen some of my older videos of one of the 15 or 20 YouTube channels I put up, most of you are just kind of like, well, this is mainly the only you that I know, but to see, for me to be able to look back on my life retrospectively and look at the fact that I'm actually doing the things that I never thought I'd be able to do, you know? Never thought I'd be able to do. That's one of the reasons why I'm so big on manifestation. If y'all had a clue, man, if you could go in my head for 10, 15 minutes and just see what all I've intentionally manifested, you can never, ever, ever tell me it don't work. You can't tell me it don't work, man. I'm a living testimony, you know? Living testimony. But anyway, yep. So that's some stuff on the deeper personal level of me. Other than that, though, I got a few more things that I'd like to talk about, but I don't know. I wait on some things sometimes, you know. Like, again, sometimes depending on what it is, I'm like, well, would this, like, it involves other people. Would this person care if I talked about this or told this story or whatever the case may be, you know? But so yeah, as far as all that goes, though, I'm not mentioning anybody anybody's business, you know. Came across me when you were homeless. Oh, okay. I think I remember you. Yeah. I know that somebody I saw, like, in the comments or maybe wrote me a message or something like that saying that I've had a few people, but I do remember somebody saying I was homeless living in my car when they started watching me. And yeah, very relatable. I'll never forget that day. I remember when I saw my first Law of Attraction video, I even remember the table I was sitting at in McDonald's on 12th and Broadway in downtown Louisville, Kentucky. And yeah, I would walk around bored. I originally turned myself into the healing place. Okay, it's this really insane, like, recovery program, you know? And I had a pretty bad alcohol problem when I was on the streets. And I was just so ashamed of my life and of myself. I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to drink until I'm blacked out every day. And it didn't take very long of doing that before my tolerance for alcohol, like, really, really went through the roof. And this one time, I'll never forget, because when I was homeless, man, I was gone, dude. It was the tower moment. The universe ripped everything away from me. And like I said, just drinking into as much vodka as I can until I'm just blacked out and don't care about where I am in life, you know. And like I said, my tolerance went up really, really high after that. And then there was this one point where I don't know how. Oh yeah, I'm doing little side jobs for people, you know, who would pick up bums off the streets and say, do this little work and I'll pay you a couple bucks for the day, $50 for the day or something like that. So I was doing a lot of that, a lot of little hustling and stuff like that. But I had 2/5 of vodka. Okay, I already finished one, threw the bottle away, and was going to one of the homeless feedings, you know, like the little soup kitchens. If you're in a place where they have homeless outreach programs, there was like soup kitchens all over this town where you could go and eat free. And volunteers would work there and feed the homeless and stuff like that. And I had my second 5th of vodka in my, it was like cold. It was getting cold. It was around this time of year, and it was in my inside pocket. And I'm like halfway through it. I don't even have a buzz yet. But this dude walked up to me and he goes, man, you got anything? You know, because there's a lot of people that do drugs, and I didn't do any kind of dope or anything like that. I was just a strict drinker. There wasn't very many of us on the streets. Most of them were on like some kind of hard drugs or something like that. He said, man, you got anything? I was like, man, this is all I do right here. And I opened up my coat and I had a fifth of vodka in the inside pocket. And he goes, man, I need something, dude. Can I get a shot of that? And I'm like, sure, man. And he took one swig. We're sitting there talking. And I said, go ahead and hit it a couple more times, man. You're good. And he took a few more drinks, like 3 or 4 shots of it. And then before you know it, he's like, woo, woo. And he's acting like all, and I'm like, what, you drunk already, man? He goes, man, I haven't drank in like a month, dude. Hell yeah, I got a buzz. And then at that point, I was like, wow, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm halfway through my second fifth of the day, and I don't even have a buzz yet. I'm like sitting here like this. You know what I mean? I'm like, ooh, damn, something's wrong here. I don't think this is normal. I was like, I might have a problem. I might need to start, like, where am I going? And then at that point, the light bulb started flicking on, and I'm like, oh shit. What am I doing with my life? That's when it really started, and I started really thinking about, I gotta get out of this somehow. I went homeless in August, I believe. It was in August of 2015. This is right around like November. So that was when I started thinking, man, I gotta get out of this. I hadn't even thought about it. It was like I was just drunk all day, every day. That's all I cared about doing because, and how am I gonna get out of this situation? How am I gonna get out of this? What the hell, man? How am I gonna get out of this? So here's the story, okay? While we're telling stories. So me and my buddy, like I said, lots of homeless people in this town, okay? Lots of them, okay? And there was all these homeless outreach programs that would give you free clothes, and they would hand out tents. They got all this donation money from the city, and basically that's the place to go be homeless. They make you very comfortable living on the streets. And there's people who have been living on the streets for like 5 fucking years and shit, living homeless on the streets. And all these homeless outreach programs just give you all this free shit and get you dependent on them, and you get comfortable living like this. And I started realizing, I gotta get out of this. Me and my buddy, like I said, a lot of homeless people on the streets. 98% of them were drug addicts. Like, they were drug addicts, bad. And me and 2 other people were the only drinkers. And they had camps throughout the city, and whatever camp was whatever drug they were doing, like the people who would do meth stayed in this camp in this part of the woods. People who would do cocaine stayed in this camp in this end of the city. Well, it was me and 2 other people, and we had what they called drunk camp. And it was, if you're a drinker, then this is the camp you stay at. And that people would smoke that spice stuff or whatever. That was real. That was like an epidemic in the city at the time. And we didn't like none of that. So me and my buddy, his street name was Skillet. We said, man, let's get the hell out of here. Let's hitchhike to Florida. That's what we were going to do. And we ended up, came across some money, like from panhandling or something like that. And we got on a bus in downtown Jeffersonville, Indiana, and took the bus all the way as far out Louisville as we could, and ended up walking. Where we ended up was like 30 miles away, and all the way on the outside of the Louisville city limits. And we were sitting there hitchhiking, trying to hitchhike. And we had a tent with us. We brought a tent, just rolled it up and put it in a backpack. And we would sit around and hitchhike all day. And nobody would pick us up, obviously. And then we would go find this little wooded area to set up tent to sleep at night. And then we would break it down and go and try to hitchhike. Well, finally, after about a week of this, we ended up, I don't know if he went and panhandled maybe or something like that. Got some money somewhere and got a bunch of alcohol from the liquor store. And this dude could not really control himself very well when he drank. And he's just acting stupid, man. And I'm like, dude, quit. I'm leaving, man. I'm going to go over here and not in public. You're acting stupid, dude. And sure enough, it was at nighttime. And I look up and there's cop cars surrounding the building. And I already knew. He's an idiot. He went and did something stupid and got the cops called on him. I was like, man, fuck this. So I went and hid. now here I am. My only partner done got hemmed up. I'm 20, 30 miles away from all the homeless people. I'm in a weird end of, I don't know anything out here, you know. Woke up the next morning and I said, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm gonna walk until I find some kind of like rehab or something like that. And I took off walking from the outside of, again, this is like 20 miles out, almost to the very edge of Louisville. Started walking. I walked probably again, like 30 miles, 20, 30 miles, something like this. It took about 8 hours for me to get downtown, 9 hours, something like that. Started walking when the sun came up. The sun was going down by the time I entered downtown Louisville. I mean, my knees were busted up, my feet, oh, it was the longest walk. And I turned myself into the healing place. And yeah, that was on December 7th. I got all the way down there and they turned me down. They was like, it's the weekend, man. You got to come back on Monday. And I'm like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. I just walked all this way. And so I was like, okay. So I found a little, a tree right by the Ohio River. Okay. There was these pine trees and the kind of pine trees where it goes all the way down, like the branches go all the way down to the bottom, so I could hide up in a pine tree. And my coat, I would just wrap up because it was getting cold. It was in December. I would just wrap up in my coat and get in the fetal position and sleep like that, and my breath would keep me warm. Zipping the coat up, you know. Slept like that for a couple of days, and it got to the point, like I would sit down somewhere in kind of like a public place, like on a bench, and people would just walk up and hand me money. I'm like, oh my God, do I look this homeless? I always made it a real strong point. I didn't want to look homeless. I was so ashamed of it, dude. So I would always get like razors and go into like public bathrooms and trim up and shave and stuff like that. And I guess all my beard was kind of getting scruffy because I hadn't shaved in a while. And I'm just sitting on a bench and people just walking up saying, here, Merry Christmas, hand me money and shit. And I'm like, oh man, this must be ugly. I must not be looking very, very respectable right now, you know? So I went straight to the dollar store and bought me some razors. I went and bought me some razors, and then I came back and, you know, I shaved and stuff like that. And I went to a liquor store and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna keep on drinking until Monday rolls around, and then turn myself into this healing place. That's where I originally got up off the streets. And it's this, it's like a recovery boot camp, dude. It's crazy. And I felt like I'd hit the lottery, man. It's reminds me of the military. It's just this big open room, the men's healing place. They had a men's and a woman's. It's a homeless shelter / recovery program. Okay, and they got a program. It's this big open room with just bunk beds, like 100 bunk beds in this huge room. And yeah, you got a shit and shower right in front of everybody. The toilets and the showers are just all in this one big open room. And I felt like I hit the lottery, dude. That was when I realized, you don't know. You know, people always say, be thankful for what you have. Dude, when I got me this little bed, and it was a crappy little bed, you know, it was like on a metal sheet or something, you know, with a little thin mattress in this big room full of like 100 other dudes, and it smells like sweaty butt crack and feet. And I thought I'd hit the lottery. I was like, yes. Oh my God, I got a bed. I got a blanket. I can shower, you know. That when I realized how appreciative I was of that, that's when I realized how much in my life I had taken for granted. You know, you don't know what you have until you lose everything, you know? And that was a huge eye opener for me. And, but anyway, in this program, they have you, like, you have to wake up every morning at like 5 a.m. They're flipping the lights on, going, all right, everybody, feet on the ground, you know? And then you got to get up and you got to make your bed. You got to make your bed all tight and shit. It's like the military, dude. Very similar to it. And then somebody comes along with a clipboard and makes sure your bed's made right. And if it's not, you have to tear it apart and redo it again. And then once they clear you, your bed's made good and everything's all your belongings are put up all nice and neat. Then you get to go wait in the breakfast line. And then you sit down and you eat breakfast. And then you have to go to a morning meditation is what they called it. And basically it's the AA. It's got a lot of the Alcoholics Anonymous stuff mixed in with it. And yeah, and then we would have to go to like one of these little meetings in the morning, and then we would do what they call trudging. And you had to do this every single day. Walk 5 miles all the way, like Now, I think it's like 2.5 miles there and 2.5, it's like 5 total miles. So you got to walk 2.5 miles to this church where they have these classes. You got to take these like drug and alcohol classes and stuff like that. And that's like 4 hours of the day. And you get done with that, and you got to walk 2.5 miles back. And you get to eat lunch while you're there. Anyway, that was originally what I did. I turned myself into that, and I was doing that for like 2 months. And I was like, man, it was like a 6 to 9 month program, and they really don't want you to leave. They really don't, but they won't let you work. They won't let you work. So I was like, I want to get up on my feet. I want a job. I want to start like doing the thing again, So I told myself, I was like, okay, here's my plan. I don't know when or how I'm going to execute this, but there was this other like homeless shelter. It's kind of like a halfway house type homeless shelter recovery program thing where you have to pay rent, and it's like a big house where all these people who are in recovery, they live there. And I said, well, I need a phone. I had my ID and my social security card and my wallet. I never lost that the whole time I was on the streets. I always had my wallet. And I said, all right, well, I need a phone. At the time, do y'all remember Obama phones? Remember those things? Where if you were on government assistance, which I was required to sign up for being in the healing place, I had to sign up for food stamps, and that's what paid for the meals that I ate. If you were on government assistance and you could prove it, they would give you a free phone, and it would come with like 200 minutes a month for free or something like that. Well, they would set up little tents, like randomly. Different days you would see like they would have a little tent set up, and there'd be people in a line to go get a free phone. And I was like, well, I got to find one of those little tents. Okay. So on the weekend, we were allowed to like leave. They would let us leave for I forget how long, maybe 8 hours. And we could go do pretty much whatever we wanted. And we had to report back at a very certain time. And I had nothing to do. I had no family, nobody that gave a shit about me. So I would just kind of wander the streets by myself. And I was like, okay, well, on the weekend when they let me leave, I got to find one of those tents, but I don't know where they're going to set one up. So I'm like, okay, I'm walking all over the place. And I see, after 2 or 3 hours of walking, I see this beer. Somebody like opened a beer, took 2 drinks of it and set it down. And I was like, ooh, that looks tempting right there. No, I'm not going to do that right now. I got to go. And I walked for probably about another hour or two. And I was like, man, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to go get that beer. I'm going to go back here and get that beer. So I went back to where that beer was sitting, and one of those tents were set up. I was like, oh, wow, if that is not the universe lining me up right there. One of those tents where I walked up, gave him my ID, showed him, my food stamp card or something proving that I had government assistance, and got my free phone. Obama phone is what they called it. And I said, okay, all right, now that I got me a phone, I'm out of this place. So I walked probably about another 5 miles to the west end of Louisville, Kentucky, which is very rough end of town. And yeah, it was called Our Father's House. So I went in there, and basically the way it works is you got to sign a pledge. I said, yeah, I'm coming from the healing place, but I want to start working, and they won't let you work there. Okay, you sign this pledge. Within 14 days of today, you got to start paying something towards rent. You got to start putting in some kind of effort to pay rent. And I was like, okay. So I signed the pledge and walked right down the street to the temp agency, and got a job on the spot at this concrete factory. And it was one of those types of jobs that if you get hired on the spot like that, especially kind of like being homeless and getting up off the streets like me, oh, it was a rough job. It was making bricks by hand, making minimum wage, working 14 hours a day, making bricks by hand. And this place, dude, it was the place to go. Anybody, they would hire anybody. Your background did not matter. Nothing. They would hire anybody. Okay, so I'm like working around people who just got out of like doing 20 years in prison for murdering people. These are my coworkers, dude. These are my coworkers, man. And yeah, I pretty much went from there. Then I met this girl, As a matter of fact, it was on my birthday, the day that I started that job. And I met this girl, and she looked like she didn't belong there. I looked like I didn't belong there. And she just immediately walked up to me and said, "Hey, what's up? You need some company?" And I'm like, "Sure." We ended up becoming friends, and I told her my situation. And after a few weeks of that, we ended up rooming together. And that's how and during that process is when I saw my first law of attraction video. And then the ball started rolling from there at that point. And yeah, story time, I guess, right? Then the ball started rolling from there. And saw my first law of attraction video at that point, right in that little, after I got my phone and was transitioning into living in homeless shelters and stuff like that. That's the story. That's the story. So when I saw that law of attraction video, I'll never forget. It's still on YouTube. I've told y'all about this a lot. It's the title of the video is "I Saw the Law of Attraction in My NDE." That's the title of the video. It's by a lady named Terry Rose. It's not a very in-depth video. It's not very long, but it's like maybe a 4-minute video where she's just kind of saying, law of attraction, where you can change your experiences and this and that. And I'm like, huh? And it started recommending more videos about law of attraction, and I'm digging into it more and more. And I'm like, wait a minute. You mean to tell me I can change this? This, me being homeless and being broke, making minimum wage, and I can create something better than this? Are you serious, dude? Oh, it's on. It's on. If this is a real thing, watch me. What else do I have to lose? What else do I have to lose? That was my mentality at the time. I was like, I've already lost everything, What would it hurt? Why not? Why not? I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a shot. I'll try it. What do I have to lose? And yeah, it basically broke down to the point to where I had to start picking myself apart piece by piece by piece. How am I manifesting these things? It wasn't a fun journey. It wasn't an easy process. It was very uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. Let's just put it that way, to break myself apart and start picking myself, getting honest with myself, calling myself out on my own bullshit, and saying, oh, okay, well, I have this thought, I have this belief, I have this thing that I do, this habit, this little nuance about my personality that's getting in the way and fucking me up. And I just have to basically, again, pick my own brain apart and start rewiring it and turning knobs and flipping switches and turning levers and changing the way that I think and changing the way that I perceive the world, changing the things that I believe, changing that internal voice and what I tell myself. And that was, let's see, when I very first had that, the light bulb came on for I need to start manifesting. When I first saw that video, that was, I want to say, it couldn't have been in January. Well, one time I told the story, I said it was in January, but it had to have been in February 2016. February 2016. So just a smidget under 5 years, so that's why, there's a lot of people, especially in my position, who have a platform with people who listen to what they say, and they say things that sound cute, They pander to the audience. They say, you can tell, and you listen to them, and you're like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't know. You're just saying what you think sounds cute. You're saying what you think the audience wants to hear. You're saying, you know what I mean? And there's people out there that do that, and I always like to make it a very strong point that, okay, well, in the spiritual community, on the path, on the awakening path, it's very easy to get misled, okay? And get led down a path that kind of just spins you in a circle and doesn't get you anywhere, The law of attraction and manifestation are very real, very real. There's a lot of people who talk about it, a lot of people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And even the people who do know what they're talking about, a lot of times they leave out really big, important pieces. Really big, important pieces. That's the problem. That's why there's so many like naysayers, because I think, wouldn't you agree that every last one of us would like to create something different? Unless you're just totally good and happy with your life, and hey, if you are, fucking hey, dude, you do you. If your life is fucking cool, you know what I'm saying? You got that relationship, you're in love, you got the family, whatever it is, and you're just cool, there's nothing wrong with your life, then it's not for you. There's no need for you to turn to it. But I would think, especially those of us who are coming to metaphysics and the tarot and stuff like that to try to seek a deeper truth, most of us have that desire to experience something different than what we've been experiencing. We would like to manifest something nice in life, a better life, you know, a better relationship, better income, you know, whatever it is that you want. And it is very, very, very possible. Very possible. Very, very possible. It is absolutely 10,000% real. A lot of the people that we go to, you know, they preach about it and teach about it. And something in me was saying, there's got to be more to it than that, man. There's got to be more to it than that. I'm going to figure it out. I didn't like plan to do anything like this for a living, but I was just always telling myself, you know what? I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to manifest a better life for myself. And then in the process of that, I'm going to figure out how to explain it in a way that people get it. Like if you're searching for it, if you're not searching for it and your life is all good and gravy, then it's not for you. But for those people who are actually looking to manifest a better life or more prosperity or abundance or whatever it is that you want to manifest, I'm going to figure out a way to explain it so that if you don't understand it, that's your choice. That's your choice. And there are a lot of people who will get defensive and get angry and try to fight it. I can't really say that I relate. It is a very uncomfortable process, very uncomfortable if you really are dedicated to doing it. And a lot of getting honest with yourself. And there's a lot of people out there who they're searching for it. But when it comes to doing the real work, the real get honest with yourself work, their defenses go up and they get mad and they get angry and they want to fight you. And it's just like, again, I never really experienced that because pretty much I was one of the types of people that it took rock bottom. It took rock bottom for me. I was like, man, I'm willing to try whatever. You know, I may have if you would have approached me with that before I had actually manifested my worst nightmares. I probably would have done the same thing. Probably would have. But by the time the information found me, I was at a point where I'm not here to fight. I don't have any fight left. What is there to fight against? You know what I mean? I've seen what fighting the process and trying to force things and whatnot gets me. I've seen that. Like, I don't have anything left to fight. I'm going to figure this out, and I'm going to help people understand it. Long story short, you know, so very weird way that it ended up manifesting, but that's part of the process. You can't, like, there's no way, dude, there's no way in hell I could have ever guessed that this is what I'd be doing. No way. I mean, what manifested and my ideas were in two totally different universes, you know? So yeah, that's part of the process though. You have to understand that what you really want is going to come to you in a very, very weird way. And it did. No way in hell could I tell people this all the time because I see people who really, really, really want to, do what I do for a living and things of that nature. And that's cool. And I do the best that I can to try to help people who come to me and ask me, you know, what should I do? Do you have any tips or any pointers? But one thing that I tell people is very important that if you went back in time 3 or 4 years ago and said, Rich, dude, you got to learn these cards, man. Dude, you don't know what you're going to be doing for a living. Here, learn these cards. I wouldn't have been able to do it. I'd be like, why? Hell no, man. I ain't learning all those for what? To read them on YouTube? That's the stupidest fucking thing. I would have sabotaged the path, dude. There's only one way that this was able to manifest for itself, and I got on the path, and every little experience that led me up to it is what, you know, made it happen. But that's anything that you want to manifest. It's a path that you have to get on, you know? You have to get on the path and focus on yourself. Sounds horrible, but you have to focus on yourself. I don't care what it is that you want to do. You have to put your energy on yourself. Okay, if you put your energy on you, energy will flow towards you. The universe is a mirror. Okay, it's a mirror. It's very, very, very blunt, honest, direct. Okay, the minute you start trying to explain linearly, then you're talking earthly ego terms, that the universe is a direct mirror. If you focus on you, where you place your focus is where energy flows. If you focus your energy on you, energy will flow towards you. So yeah, didn't really have a landing point for that, but anyway, man, I just got to babbling my ass off this morning, didn't I? Anyway, though, I've got a few more minutes left. Like I said, I like to try to keep it at an hour. I mean, after an hour, it's just, I don't know. Me personally, if I'm watching a video on YouTube, once it goes past an hour, I kind of start to lose, like, my attention span goes away after about an hour, you know? So don't want to bore y'all. Appreciate y'all's positive feedback. Like I said, when I get on these chats, man, it's a completely clean slate, man. I have nothing planned to talk about. We told some stories today, didn't I? Anyway, though, I don't know. At the time when I first got up this morning, everybody was still asleep. I don't know if anybody's awake now. But I am going to go ahead and get out of here, y'all. I'll go ahead and get on out. And if anybody ordered a reading and it's due today, I'll be on that. But I don't know if I have any readings yet. Anyway, other than that, though, I'll see you sometime between now and the rest of all eternity. All right. Y'all have a good one.